drivers, start your engines. Pull those belts down tight one more time, warm up those tires, hit your marks, and let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, Indycar, Formula One, Formula E, and NHRA Racing Talk. This is the Championship Racing Network. Now here is your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson, with producer John Myers.
Well, the gang is all here, and we were hoping to have a guest in studio, but unfortunately not able to make it in. One of those last-minute sort of things. So.
Yeah, just one of them things.
Yep. Hopefully Russell will be able to join us here fairly soon. We will talk about what is going on at our home facility of Talladega Superspeedway here in just a little bit. Want to thank you very much for joining us here on this middle of the month of May Saturday morning. And here in East Central Alabama, at the very least, I can't speak for wherever you might happen to be if you're not listening to the flagship station, Thunder 92.7. I can't speak to how your weather is. But here, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Wish it would stay this way all year, but if it did, we couldn't afford to live here. So,
True.
I'm Steve West. That guy over there is Matt Nicholson. The guy over there, up there? Is it up there?
It's up there.
It's up there. If you're looking at the video on YouTube, would be the one and only John Myers. And hope everything is going well for you. Let's get into it, shall we?
Let's go.
Kind of a busy weekend last weekend, and since we talked about the Camping World Truck Series at Darlington on last week's show, let's move on to last Saturday's racing. Actually began in Monaco with Formula E finally getting to run the exact same course that they did in Formula One. They're big brothers over there. But as the previous racing weekend had shown, energy conservation was something of a priority, despite the fact that, well, they supposedly upped the capacity. Antonio Felix DaCosta, the defending series champion, claimed the pole position, but he was running behind Mitch Evans for most of the race. It actually seemed to work in his favor. Battery use, again, major concern for Evans, causing him to slow, and on the last lap, DaCosta got around him, claims the win. Evans fell into a battle with Robin Freins for second. Freins just ahead of the finish line. DaCosta wins. Freins second. Evans then third on the podium in the official results. Jean-Eric Verne fourth. Rest of your top 10, Max Gunther, Oliver Rowland, Sam Bird, Nick Cassidy, Alex Lynn, and Lucas DeGrassi. Robin Freins keeps the points lead. He's got a 62-57 lead over Nick DeVries. Mitch Evans is up to 54. Antonio Felix DaCosta making a move. He's up to 52. 49 for Sam Bird. Stoffel Van Dorn with 48. Jean-Eric Verne 46. And Rene Rast 39. While we have Oliver Rowland holding 30. Rene Rast, I should say, 39. 35 for Oliver Rowland. And Jake Dennis is 10th, 33 points, some 7 races into this season. At this point, Mercedes is in there with a very slim 2-point lead, 105 to 103 over Jaguar in team standings. In third place, it's DS Takita with 98. Then you drop down to Envision with 81, and then a bigger drop back, all the way down to 55 for BMW I Andretti. Then you got 53 for Audi Sport ABT Schaeffler. They are hurting ever since last year when they had that little bit with Daniel Abt.
Yep, they sure are.
I don't know what's going on over there, but they are not looking good.
Nope.
Tag Heuer Porsche, 47, 50 for Tag Heuer Porsche, then 47 for Mahindra. Nissan's got 46, 43 held by Rocket Venturi. Dragon Penske doing a pretty nice job, even though they're well down in the standings, they're at least competing for that mid-range there. They've got 42. And despite what they did to begin the year, Neo 333 is back to their not-so-good form. They're last with only 18 points.
At least they're outscoring Haas.
That's true. Yeah, we can't really call them the Haas or Williams of Formula E because they've got points.
You could probably call them the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, really.
Close enough.
Well, they don't have points either, so what's the difference? Xfinity rolled out on last Saturday to compete next. They were running at Darlington, came down to an overtime finish, and then having that upset by the NASCAR inspectors. We'll get more into that a little bit later. On the green-white checkered restart, Junior Motorsports teammates Justin Allgaier and Josh Berry were leading the field, and after a short side-by-side battle, Allgaier got out front and held that lead to the finish. Berry edging a hard-charging Brandon Jones for second. Jones came home third. In fourth was Noah Gragson. Hang on. Here it comes. Daniel Hemrick, then Jeremy Clements, Michael Annette, Brett Moffitt, Ryan Sieg, and Alex LeBay make up the top 10. Now, initially, This gave Gragson the bonus in the dash for cash, with preparations being made to send him home with an extra $100,000. And then NASCAR inspectors stepped up and did their best little imitation of the coach on College game day and said, "Not so fast, my friend," and disqualified Gragson's finish. They determined that the number 9 Chevrolet had illegal suspension mounts, or hardware that allowed more movement and realignment of the suspension that was more than was normal under race circumstances. So they disqualified him. They credited him with last place, ripped the check away, moved everyone up from 5th, up 1 position, which put Harrison Burton in the top 10, and gave the dash for cash bonus to the 12th place finisher on the day, A.J. Allmendinger. But wait,
There's more.
There's more, and we'll get to it later on in the show. Austin Cindric still leads the way. He's got 2 wins. Allgaier, who won at Atlanta, joins him with 2 wins. Then single-time winners A.J. Allmendinger, Jeb Burton, Myatt Snyder all locked into the playoffs. Rest of your top 12 in on points: Daniel Hemrick, Harrison Burton, Justin Haley, Noah Gragson, Jeremy Clements, Brandon Jones, Michael Annett, Brandon Brown, and Brett Moffitt are within 10 points of Annett for that final playoff position. Sunday morning, U.S. time anyway, in Spain, Formula One got that day's racing underway. Lewis Hamilton claimed the pole, but Max Verstappen, who was also on the front row, zipped by him and led lap 1 and, as it turned out, the majority of the race. So Mercedes started to strategize, and they decided to skip out and not do what Red Bull was doing. Red Bull decided on a 1-stop race strategy for Verstappen. Mercedes went 2 stops. And it paid off for Mercedes and Hamilton. With 6 laps to go and much fresher tires, Hamilton got around Verstappen and got the win. It's his 98th career win, showed a gap of more than 15 seconds at the line. That's how much more the newer tires for Hamilton meant.
Yep.
It was big. Valtteri Bottas ends up claiming 3rd, so it's the same 3 for a continuing record, by the way. We talked, I think, a little bit about that last week. The podium finish in any order of Hamilton, Bottas, and Verstappen is the all-time most common podium in Formula One history.
It seems like it's been that way for the last 35 years.
It kind of, yeah. It certainly
Seems
does.
like it.
But they got the record, and they'll just keep extending it for a while.
Yeah.
Then you got Charles Leclerc in 4th, Sergio Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly making up the top 10. I'm telling you, both of the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri, former Toro Rosso, they're impressing. They really are.
They are.
With the win, Hamilton moves out to a 94 to 80 point lead over Max Verstappen. Valtteri Bottas moves up to 3rd ahead of Lando Norris, now 47 to 41 points. Charles Leclerc is in there with 40. Sergio Perez sits in 6th with 32, 24 for Daniel Ricciardo. Carlos Sainz has 20, Esteban Ocon holds 10, and 8 for Pierre Gasly. Still relatively early. But even as early as it is, Mercedes is pulling away in the Constructors' Cup standings, 141 points to 112 over Red Bull. Then you drop all the way to McLaren with 65, Ferrari with 60. They, by the way, have said they're all but done developing the 2021 car. Their attention is now on 2022. From Ferrari in 60 to Alpine with 15, 10 for AlphaTauri. Aston Martin's got 5, and then the triple zeros belonging to Alfa Romeo, Williams, and Haas have 1.
I can't understand why a team would not work on their car to make it better for the year and not just say Mercedes and Red Bull, see you guys next year.
Yeah.
We're just here to just pull some money.
For all intents and purposes,
It's
they've
crazy.
waved the white flag on this year.
That's crazy.
I disagree. In Haas's case, I think I would agree because they were so far behind the 8 ball it didn't matter. Ferrari, as we saw throughout the course of last year and at the beginning of this year, they've been able to tweak that car and made it better and actually made it competitive.
They have.
So I don't really understand Ferrari waving the white flag already.
I don't
myself.
either.
But that's what they've done. Not our call.
Yeah.
Cup Series then took center stage, wrapping up the weekend's racing activity at Darlington. Question coming in was, would we going to get another first-time winner, or would we finally get another repeat winner? Well, Martin Truex Jr. is the only driver with 2 wins on the season so far. He swept the first and second stages. But as was noted in Darlington's history, no driver who had won a stage race, or a race stage, went on to win the race. Until Truex blew that to smithereens. He tore away from the field at the beginning of the final stage. Kyle Larson did have a long-run car, and he challenged Truex with about 20 laps to go, but he had used up his equipment to get up to Truex's bumper. So there you have it. Truex now has 3 wins on the season's 12 races. Truex Larson were 1-2. Then it was Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick. Then you got Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Chris Buescher, and Ryan Newman. Truex, again, leads with 3 wins. Then you got your single-time winners also locked into the playoffs. They include William Byron, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman, and Michael McDowell. The drivers that are in on points right now include Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin is so far ahead of the cutoff line, he needs a telescope to see the cutoff line.
Yeah.
He has done everything except win in 2021.
Yes, he has.
Then you got Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon, Chris Buescher, Matt DiBenedetto. DiBenedetto's technically tied with Tyler Reddick for that final spot, but he holds the tiebreaker on that. So that brings us to this weekend's racing. It's not that big of a schedule. Starts off with the Xfinity Series. They're taken to Dover International Raceway. They're going to run a non-title sponsored 200-miler. There you have it. Things get underway 1:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Central Time. It'll be on Fox Sports 1 and MRN Radio. Shortly after, the NTT Data IndyCar Series will get going. They're going to run the GMR Grand Prix on the road course at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's a 14-turn, 2.439-mile-long track. Coverage on NBC and the IndyCar Radio Network. Starts 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Central Time. And a surprise pole winner. Matt, who is it?
That would be Mr. Romain Grosjean.
The rookie from Formula One comes over and has found himself rather comfortable already in an
And this
IndyCar.
is one thing you don't hear said often anywhere in motorsports, period. in a
Uh-huh.
Rick.
Oh, I know. where he's going
This
with
is
this.
hard to say. In a Rick Ware backed automobile.
Yes, this is the number 51 Dale Coyne Racing with Rick Ware Racing Honda-powered entry.
Woo! Yeah.
And he didn't just kind of eke out a pole.
He got it by a solid 10th of a second.
That's,
It's quick.
yeah, that's pretty quick.
And you want to know who he beat, kids? Joseph Newgarden.
2-time IndyCar Series champion Joseph Newgarden. Not too far back, I think it was it 4th or 5th, that one of the other rookies, Scott McLaughlin, he's going to roll off in the top 5. For those of you that are hoping that Jimmy Johnson does well, I hate to tell you, he barely beat out Juan Pablo Montoya and Dalton Kellett, so he's going to start 22nd, which doesn't seem to make John all that upset.
No.
So disappointed. Not.
I don't know what it is about Jimmy Johnson's learning curve here, but it seems much steeper than what we have seen for some drivers who have been able to. I mean, I remember Kurt Busch coming in,
Yeah.
and he qualified well for, and I understand it was the Indy 500, but he qualified well, and he seemed to grasp it really, really fast.
He did.
I don't know what it is with Jimmy Johnson.
But in regards to Jimmy Johnson, I have never seen somebody so happy to be running at the back and be 2 laps down after a race. Ever.
Yeah, that's true. I
mean,
haven't
ever.
I haven't gotten to the point where I understand that myself.
I can't understand it.
No, neither can I. But anyway, so that's today. Tomorrow, the first of 2 racing events, television-wise, is the Cup Series. They will be at Dover. They're running the Dryden 400. It airs on Fox Sports 1 and MRN Radio. Starts 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time. And then as for television coverage-wise, the NHRA will hold the anchor leg. The finals of the, I'm going to try and get this, so it's going to be a very deliberate read, NGK and TK 4-wide nationals happening at ZMAX Dragway in Charlotte. Fox Sports 1 on a delayed basis has the coverage starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central Time. ARCA, not ARCA East, they ran last night at Dover. Ty Gibbs won. The ARCA Menard Series, Camping World Truck Series, Formula 1, and Formula E, they are all off this particular weekend. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and talk about this. We were going to do this a little bit later, but I feel like since we got a little bit of time, let's go ahead and talk about it now.
Yep.
There is a bit of activity going on over at our home, and I call it, well, our second home. How's that? Talladega Superspeedway. Matt's got the details.
What they're doing today is I don't know if you really don't call it a promotion,
Not really.
Not really, but what they're doing today, anybody that needs to get tested, it's called the Race to End COVID. Anybody that needs to get a COVID-19 test or get vaccinated for free at Talladega, you do it at the track, you will get 2 laps around this glorious facility. I'll always call it that. At highway speed. In your truck, car, personal vehicle, whatever you want to take out there. That has to be street legal. Let's say that.
Yes, it has to be.
They're doing it from, it looks like from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. today. Everything, as I said, at no charge. It's being sponsored by the racetrack, the Alabama National Guard, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the CDC, and the Alabama Department of Public Health.
Now, when you say get 2 laps, you're not talking about climbing in the car and somebody drives you around. You're talking about you can drive your car.
Your car.
On the speedway.
Yes, you
Correct.
can. Woohoo! Yep. Now, you'll be set at a pace lap because we're not just going to let you try and see how fast your car will go.
Which we've done.
There are insurance situations that must be dealt with when it comes to Talladega Superspeedway.
That's why you said highway speeds.
Yes.
Yes.
So you might be able to do just a little better than highway speeds, truth be told.
That's been the big, yeah.
But I wouldn't say a whole lot. You might, and I'm going to emphasize the word might, edge toward triple digits, but I doubt seriously you're going to get over it. Okay? So don't get delusions of grandeur here that you're suddenly going to be the next NASCAR champion by taking your own car out there and going, oh, well, I can do this.
Wish we could go because we kind of got to get out of jail free card.
That's true. Oh, well. Anyhow, so yeah, make sure that you, if you have not already, this would be one of the ways that you might want to think about it. And starts 9 o'clock today?
9 a.m. Yep.
9 a.m. today. So, right about the time we get off the air, if you just want to kind of start sliding your way on over towards Talladega.
Because apparently the way all these states are dropping their restrictions like flies, the faster herd immunity is reached.
Whatever that means. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it means.
Exactly.
That's scientists' words, not mine.
Yeah, that's true, too. And we also want to thank not only our friends at Talladega Superspeedway, we want to thank our fine friends and sponsors here at the Championship Racing Network. We're talking about Ox Foundation Solutions. And if you have a house, you probably spent a pretty good amount of money for it, especially if you just recently bought it. Now, if you just recently bought it, hopefully everything's fine. Hopefully you had a really good inspection person that said, hey, listen, everything's good. But if you have any question at all, or if you have some of these little hints that could indicate that you've got a problem with your foundation, Ox Foundation Solutions, the people you need to call. What are some of these hints? Cracks in the brick on the outside. Maybe you got your basement wall showing some cracks, or the sheetrock inside. Maybe you got windows or doors that are sticking, or uneven floors. How about water in the basement or crawl space, or just damp floors? Now, again, these are not a guarantee that there's a foundation problem, but these are indications of a possible foundation failure. And they're not going to get better. They're only going to get worse if you leave it untreated and unfixed. And we know the people that can fix it. We also know the people that can find out whether or not you have a problem. And they're going to be straight up with you. If you ain't got a problem, they're going to say, you have no problem. Here's the written foundation solution, which shows you have no problem. Have a nice day. So don't take chances. Michael Hart's the person you need to call or email at 205-362-6419 or Mike at oxfoundations.com. He will set up with you a time and day that works best for you. Come out, go all over your house, top to bottom, inside and out, and he will make sure that you have that peace of mind as to what's going on with that house. And it's no obligation to you. It's no cost to you. And it's a written up foundation assessment. He's not just going to tell you and go, okay, have a nice day. He's going to have it written down on a piece of paper so you know exactly what's up. And if you happen to need work, mention the promo code WEST. You receive 15% off any repair that you need. 205-362-6419. You can call him that way, or you can email him. Again, that is Mike at oxfoundations.com. Mike at oxfoundations.com. Give him a call. Send him an email. Get that peace of mind. Know that your house, one of, if not the biggest investment you're ever going to make, is solid and ready to go for years to come.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
Wow.
Yes.
Welcome back to the best in daytime with Days of Our Lives, Steve Harvey and Al.
Is that a good wow?
No.
Is it
a bad wow?
The latest
No.
look at what's happening right now and what's next. Plus the all-new storm
I'm
cracking
just
power
looking
of
at something.
WBTM 13 live Doppler.
We're coming back to Cup, right?
And welcome back
Yes.
to WBTM 13.
This report is service of the area agency on
Die.
aging. Many older
Die.
Americans have to choose between buying food, medicine, or other necessities. If you or someone you know struggles to pay for groceries,
We need
help
one
may
more
be
person on
available.
this team.
Call the area agency on
To
aging
do.
at 1-800-AGE line to find out more.
Laugh track.
If you're having problems buying your
Oh.
food, you need help, call the Alabama Area Agency on
Well,
Aging locally
at this
at
point in time, we ain't got the money to hire
1-800-243-5463.
anybody, so.
They'll explain all
No, we
about
need to grab an
SNAP to you.
intern.
It's a food stamp program.
We did
for
that at one
senior
point in time.
citizens.
Yeah. Worked out pretty well.
I thought I did.
The $5 Chalupa Cravings box from Taco Bell. So it's vacuuming, might as well be the soft hum of purring kittens. And your loud neighbors turn into a telenovela with the beefy five-layer burrito and chips and nacho cheese sauce plus a medium drink.
Jorge, dame un beso, mi amor.
With the $5 Chalupa Cravings box from Taco Bell, nothing can ruin your bliss. It's value beyond belief. At limited participating locations for a limited time only. Contact store for prices and items which vary. Drinks is free, tax extra.
We see you. Yes, you. You are America's tax slayers.
Murder.
How these freaking Twitch people do it.
Business owners, teachers and students, grandparents and
Pay a
children.
game, live stream, and freaking chat. All I can do is just keep up with OBS.
Millions of taxpayers who trust TaxSlayer to help them get the refunds they deserve. For tax filing made easy, reliable, and affordable, head to taxslayer.com.
I didn't do it.
4 tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Here we go. All right.
We got it.
We'll get there. Don't worry. It's early in the morning. How's everything going with you? Just underway here on the Championship Racing Network. I'm Steve West. That is Matt Nicholson right over there. And John Myers is trying to figure out what exactly happened to our computer, which apparently decided to freak
Oh,
out.
I know what happened.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you do.
I got too many mice.
Oh boy.
We appreciate you checking us out on our flagship station in East Central Alabama. That's Thunder 92.7. Now, this is an East Central Alabama radio station, which means that if you're traveling over towards Atlanta or Birmingham and points further west, or I don't know, maybe you're north or south going up towards Huntsville or down towards Auburn, you will eventually run out of the signal on 92.7 FM. There are a couple of different things that you can do to pick us back up. There's a couple of different radio streaming websites that you can go to.
It's going to be the streaming sites of TuneIn, the streaming site of Simple Radio, and oh goodness, why did I just go blank?
There is a third one. I can't think of it either. It's not iHeart.
Yeah, I can't think of it either.
Yeah, it's not that one with the big heart in it. But anyway, or you can check us out. We are switching, by the way. For the longest time, we were doing Facebook Live, but we found out that Facebook Live changed their rules somewhere down the line, and we no longer have access to our own property when it comes to doing a Facebook Live video. So we're switching over to a YouTube page. And all you got to do is go onto YouTube, look up Championship Racing Network, and subscribe. It's free, so you don't have to worry about that. Plus, you get notified whenever the video starts, and boom, you're right there. So hopefully you'll check it out and subscribe. Again, it's free. And tell your friends about it. On to Cup Series news, where Live Fast Motorsports, they usually put B.J. McLeod behind the wheel of their number 78 Cup Series racer, this being their first year. But they've decided that he's not going to be the full-time driver of that car. And in fact, they've already gone out and nailed a road course ringer. He's going to run most, not all, of the road course races this year. They've tabbed a guy by the name of Kyle Tilley. Kyle Tilley is an IMSA WeatherTech sports car racer by trade, set to make his Cup Series debut at Circuit of the Americas. Slated to drive the number 78 also at Road America, Watkins Glen, and Indianapolis when they hit the road course later on this year. It brought me to thinking about what we talked about over the last couple of weeks, specifically about one Jennifer Jo Cobb.
Yeah.
Right now,
yeah.
Jennifer Jo Cobb has to be somewhere seething over this news.
I don't think seething is the accurate way to say it. Honestly, don't.
She's quiet. That's why I say see.
Yeah.
She hasn't said anything about this.
Yeah. And if you watching the camera, looking at what I'm doing, this is what this is what all this stuff's making me do.
I know.
Just like
It's giving us a headache, is what it is.
yes, I get fully. He's got the road course experience. That's where his forte is.
Mm-hmm.
The LMP2 cars and the Daytona prototypes that he has driven are not exactly similar, but they have similarities to Cup cars.
Some.
Some.
Yeah.
But still, though, if you're going to make someone that has 10 plus years
10 plus, yeah.
in the upper echelons of NASCAR,
Mhm.
make them go through a process when they have well over 200 starts combined. You're going to make them go through a process just to even make your Cup Series debut at a racetrack. It really doesn't matter which racetrack to me.
I don't get it. Now, they'll say that the difference is Jennifer Jo Cobb was going to be on Talladega, whereas this guy's on a road course.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I'm not sure I agree with their distinction here. Because you're still going up against the best that NASCAR has to offer at the top levels of the Cup Series.
Agreed.
What's the difference?
Nothing.
Lack of experience for Jennifer Jo Cobb, lack of experience for Kyle Tilley. I don't see the difference.
I'm personally still hedging my bets. The reason they didn't let her run Talladega is because the run in her and Norm Benning had at Richmond, to where she dumped Norm Benning.
Then you know what? Say it.
Yeah, be open and say it.
Don't beat around the bush. Come out and say it.
Exactly. Just come out and say it.
Hate that stuff.
Because if we go back to how it's supposed to be done, to get certified, classified, whatever words you want to use to describe it,
mm-hmm.
if you complete an ARCA race,
yes,
you're approved to run the big tracks.
Read Joey Logano circa, what was it, 2005?
Something like that.
I think.
Yep. I can remember, let's see, Joey Logano had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Juan Montoya had to do it.
Yep.
Danica Patrick done it.
True.
Bubba Wallace did it.
Yep.
Eric Jones. Eric Jones did it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much everybody has done it
at some point in time. Yeah.
Why can't we go back to doing it now?
Especially considering ARCA is now officially part of the NASCAR ladder.
True. So by these statutes and protocols that they are setting, I could easily go out, and there is a sponsor that I'm pretty sure I could talk into doing it for one race. I'm pretty sure that I could. I could go to Matt Tift and BJ McLeod and say, "Here, I want Bristol dirt race next year."
There you go.
And if I hand that check, odds are you're going to see my name on the entry list because I have a dirt background.
Plans for 2022, engage.
Sold.
Speaking of 22, Joey Logano and the number 22 crew going to have a new leader this weekend. NASCAR suspended crew chief Paul Wolfe based upon their finding not just one, but two unsecured lug nuts on the 22 after last weekend's race at Darlington. That not only nets a suspension, but it lightens Paul Wolfe's wallet by about $20,000. Jonathan Hassler, a Team Penske engineer, is set to cover Wolfe's role. Other fines handed out due to single unsecured lug nuts, but no other suspensions were announced from last weekend in any of the three series.
And John Meyer's thoughts on Joey Logano having problems?
About the same as his feelings about Jimmy Johnson not qualifying all that well?
Pretty much.
I don't have to say a word.
Yeah, you don't.
And then fan voting for the upcoming All-Star race to be held this year at Texas Motor Speedway, now open. If you are so inclined, you can log on to NASCAR.com/fan vote. You can make your mark for your favorite driver. You can only vote once per email per day. So if you got 5 emails, you do the math. Drivers included in this year's fan vote are the drivers that are not automatically eligible for the All-Star race. These are the drivers that will otherwise compete in the All-Star Open. They are Eric Almirola. This is alphabetical order, by the way. Anthony Alfredo, Chris Buescher, Josh Bilicki, Chase Briscoe, Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, Matt DiBenedetto, Joey Gase, Timmy Hill, Quinn Huff, Eric Jones, Corey LaJoie, B.J. McLeod, Ryan Preece, Tyler Reddick, Garrett Smithley, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace, and Cody Ware. Again, drivers who have not otherwise already locked down an all-star race slot. 4 such drivers will get into the all-star race. The stage winners of the All-Star Open, featuring those drivers I just noted, the winner of the Open, and the winner of the fan vote. In looking at the names here,
we know who's going to win it. I'm just going to say it. You know who's going to win it.
Go for it.
Wallace.
See, I actually have to think it's probably a race between Wallace and Matt DiBenedetto.
DiBenedetto's going to race his way in.
I agree with that, but I think the fan vote will be a race between Bubba Wallace and Matt DiBenedetto. Those are two of the most popular drivers amongst this crew.
I secretly hope Timmy Hill comes up there and wins it.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Considering what happened with the iRacing deal earlier this year, it probably will.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Love to see it.
But you know Wallace is going to walk away with this.
Probably.
DiBenedetto is going to race his way in. I'm pretty confident Chase Briscoe will race his way in.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident Eric Jones will race his way in.
Let's see. So you're thinking DiBenedetto, Briscoe,
and Jones.
Okay.
That's the 3. That's the 3 I'm leaning towards because
I could see. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying I could see Tyler Reddick or Eric Almirola coming up too.
I could see them coming up too, but the
outside chance at Ross Chastain.
The inconsistencies.
Oh yeah, I agree.
The total inconsistencies.
That's all across the board, by the way, at Stewart Haas Racing. That even includes Kevin Harvick.
Oh yeah, it is. But Briscoe has been on the steady incline.
Yeah,
it's
agreed.
It's not like climbing straight up.
No,
it's a slow incline.
Yeah, he seems to be following Kevin Harvick, but Kevin Harvick has stepped it up over the last couple of weeks with a couple of top 5s. I'm seeing an increase in the performance on the Chase Briscoe car as well. I'm not necessarily seeing it in Eric Almirola, but for one race, a money grab like this.
True.
And Ross Chastain does seem to be able to step up at certain times as well.
True.
But I could agree with you on that.
But
Daniel Suarez. Now, Tyler Reddick would be an interesting one. He's a young kid who he still's got a little bit of rough edges, but he can step it up too.
I'm gonna squarely put the dark horse target bullseye, the one that could slip up there and stink the entire show up, as Daniel Suarez.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was kind of looking at that name too.
Yeah,
I could agree with him. All right, to the Xfinity Series news, where we had mentioned that there was, let's just say more to the story about the whole Noah Gragson situation. We noted in the race recaps just a little bit ago, Noah Gragson had a 4th place finish last Saturday at Darlington disallowed because NASCAR said that his car had a suspension that allowed just a little bit too much movement or realignment outside of the expected race parameters. So as a result, Gragson lost out on the $100,000 Dash for Cash bonus and instead of a top 10, got credit initially for 40th place finish. So they appealed the penalty. Considering the fact that this weekend's race at Dover is the next in the Dash for Cash series, they needed to hear that appeal in a rapid-fire manner, and they did. And a little bit surprisingly, probably not the least surprised, was one Tony Stewart, who said a couple of years ago, I don't see the reason to appeal because they never get overturned. This one got overturned.
Mm-hmm.
Gragson now gets back the points for a 4th place finish. He is credited with the 4th place finish, and maybe just as important, he gets back the $100,000 in bonus money.
Uh-huh.
And this came from the final appeal officer, Roger Werner. He gave no reason for his ruling. NASCAR can't appeal it, so it stands.
Yep.
So what did NASCAR do in return? They clarified the ruling
which should
that they said Noah Gragson violated.
which should have been done to start with, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. The new rule that has been amended / clarified / whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, pick a word.
The left and right side coil springs must completely contact the upper and lower spring mounting plates at all times. The left side and right side rear coil springs must be active in supporting the rear weight of the vehicle. Okay, that last line is completely irrelevant because that's what the purpose of the coil springs are to do, is support the car to the rear end housing.
I think what they could have done was just say secured at all times to the mounting plate. I think that would have been sufficient. But I think because of the fact that the final appeal officer, I guess, saw a loophole, I don't know, in the original wording of the rule and overturned it, I think clarifying it by saying, hey, they must be in connection with the suspension mount at all times would have done it.
True.
This is just overkill.
A lot of overkill.
Yeah.
Basically, what that told me is what happened is one of those rear springs shifted.
Mm-hmm.
I've had it happen. I know it can happen. The spring shifts, which therefore causes contact to be lost with either the upper or the lower, I call it spring cup.
Okay.
That can happen, which therefore causes the car to settle more on one corner or the other.
So here comes the question. Are teams scrambling to meet this, or is this an easy fix?
That's an easy fix.
Okay.
Totally easy fix. You can fix it by cutting one of the little ears where the spring coils up, one of the ears that hang off the bottom, cut it off flush to where it sits completely flat on both sides.
There you
Because
go.
if you get a spring that's been uncut,
Mhm.
but yet still has the same spring rate, if it's uncut, it can cause contact to be lost with either the upper or the lower spring plate.
Not a flush mount.
Not a flush mount spring, which
Gotcha.
therefore causes the ride heights to change, which could cause a ride height violation.
There you go. And now we all know. And knowing is half the battle.
The more you know.
Yep. Now all of a sudden I want to sing the G.I. Joe theme. When we come back, we'll get into the rest of the Xfinity Series racing news. Plus we got Camping World Truck Series news. And, oh yeah, we've got a soundbite for you. Can't wait
Maybe
for
two.
you to hear this.
Maybe two.
And we may be talking about this for a little while.
Strap in, kids.
It's going to get fun right after this on CRN.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network.
Have you wanted to speak a new language?
I screwed up cutting grass yesterday. Good
Lord.
Lord.
Screwed up what?
Cutting grass yesterday?
Soon,
How?
you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes,
You can't screw up cutting grass. I screwed up cutting an area that had been dried out. Good night.
Well, if you want to come over to my house and do it, I'd appreciate it because
Oh, yeah, it was so
You can
dusty.
come out on too while you're at it.
Today. That's BABBEL.com.
I was all up Bear
There's
Creek
another
doing
thing on
it.
my to-do list today.
well, I should do it this weekend, but I've been told that until everything gets settled down, I'm not supposed to do anything stressful. So I'm sitting there staring at a yard going, well, crap, how do I mow the yard?
I can see that.
I got a nuclear stress test coming up a week from Tuesday.
Plus the all-new storm tracking power of WVTM 13 Live Doppler. Thanks, Dish subscribers, and welcome back to WVTM 13.
What I really need is somebody to just come and trim it, because I can get the riding mower out there. Which, hey, welcome back into the show. Steve West, Matt Nicholson, John Myers here on the Championship Racing Network. So we go from one weird situation with the Noah Gragson appeal actually being successful. Hang on. Track news coming up. First things first, this weekend, Cowlick Racing driver Justin Haley, he was actually supposed to pull double duty. He's running for points regularly in the number 11 Camaro in the Xfinity Series, but he was also set to drive the number 77 Camaro for Spire Motorsports in the Cup Series race at Dover tomorrow. But he is out of both in accordance with NASCAR's COVID-19 protocols. While they didn't say so specifically, let's just say he failed a COVID test. In his place, Cowlick has pulled Camping World Truck Series driver Zane Smith to drive in the Xfinity Series race. This will mark his Xfinity Series debut.
Zane Smith?
According to what I heard.
He drove for Junior Motorsports a few years ago.
Somebody else got it wrong.
Yeah. He drove. He was a part-time driver of the 8 car in 2019 exactly.
And then there is a guy who is set to make his Cup Series debut for Spire Motorsports instead of Justin Haley. From Junior Motorsports, ladies and gentlemen, Josh Berry comes over. And Josh Berry is not exactly a slacker. He's already got a win this season in a part-time role for Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series. He won at Martinsville.
He's earned his debut.
I agree.
But it's not the car I'd want to debut in.
No, but you know what? He's getting a shot. So
unless you're at a plate track.
That's true. And then there is this little bit of news where Rick Ware Racing has worked with Stewart Haas Racing. They're going to put Cole Custer in their number 17 Ford Mustang with sponsorship from Production Alliance Group. This is going to be at Circuit of the Americas. Cole, the 2020 Cup Series Rookie of the Year, is kind of looking at this as a chance to at least get a little bit more familiar with the track, new to NASCAR this year. Having been built initially as a Formula One track, it has hosted IndyCar and other series in its history, but this will be the first time for NASCAR. I understand this is a Rick Ware Racing.
Sure, it's a Rick Ware Racing car.
Yeah, right. I understand this is kind of Rick Ware Racing putting this car out there. There's two aspects to this. Number one, it probably is a Stewart Haas Racing Xfinity ride.
Uh-huh.
One of the other ones.
Uh-huh.
So Riley Earpst, don't crack up the primary. That's one. Two, getting familiar with Circuit of the Americas. How much is this going to help Cole Custer get familiar with the track? I mean, it'll get him familiar with the layout, but if the car does what a typical Rick Ware Racing car does, for example, which I don't think it will.
He's defeating his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But I would bet the farm, the city, the skyscraper, every piece of real estate that
you don't own,
the 45th president of the United States owns.
Oh.
And plus all the land value in Abu Dhabi, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates put together, that this is one of the old 00 cars that's been in mothballs. It's just rewrapped.
Sure. Yeah, I think you're probably right on that.
Yeah.
But that being said, number one, I got to admit, I'm a little surprised we haven't heard more Cup Series drivers doing a little bit of moonlighting here. How much will this help Cole Custer?
It'll give him some help, but not enough, I don't think. Simply put, because it's a Rick Ware car.
Mm-hmm.
But Circuit of the Americas, they're getting practice and qualifying, so I mean, it can't hurt him getting extra laps.
There's something going on. We mentioned this a little bit earlier. There's something going on with the 10 of Eric Almirola. There's something going on with Cole Custer in that 41. They just haven't got all their ducks in a row yet. So you can get all the practice time you want. If the car's not right, especially on a road course, it's going to be glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad thing that he's getting this time.
No.
But I want to see more out of that 41 team than what I've seen so far. They are nowhere near where they were just last year.
I'm telling you what it is. They changed that rule on the wheel well openings in the side force.
Mm-hmm.
Look who fell off the map.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
One note in the Camping World Truck Series news roll, ThorSport Racing set to put 5 trucks on the track under their banner for the upcoming races at Charlotte Motor Speedway and Nashville Superspeedway. Driver of that 5th entry? A Ty Majeski sighting. Who knew? Majeski's probably better known for his exploits and wins in late model racing, but he does have ARCA and NASCAR experience. He's got 15 Xfinity Series starts to his credit in 2017 and 2018. Ran a half dozen ARCA Menard Series races in 2019. He won 3 of them. And then he finished in all 6 in the top 10. And then ran 15 Camping World Truck Series races in 2020. This is the first, I think, I've heard anyway, of him racing in 2021 in the Truck Series.
Yes, that's correct.
I kind of wonder at some point in time. I mean, especially if you run half of it, you run 6 races, you finish all of them in the top 10, and you win 3 of them. What more do you have to do to prove yourself that maybe you should be given a chance at a full-time ride? Yeah. For those of you listening on the radio, it's all about the money, boys.
Yep.
All right. Strap in, boys and girls. Here comes the fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
Yeah, we're going to camp on this story for a bit. We have been talking to you about this, by the way. Nashville Board of Fair Commissioners. They met this past week. They got to talking about the situation with SMI, trying to bring them in to help refurbish Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. If this is agreed to, SMI is supposed to pay the city $1 million a year to lease, manage, and operate Nashville Fairgrounds, assuming all financial responsibility to renovate and upgrade the track and all the facilities around the historical location. That's a pretty big layout. Well, this is a public hearing, right? 4-hour session talking about the planned renovation with the help of Bristol Motor Speedway and Speedway Motorsports Incorporated. 4 hours, including about an hour and 15 minutes of comments by the public, where there were a good number of people that spoke in favor. That included Darrell Waltrip, he's kind of the grandfather, if you will, of Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. That dude won more there and probably got really noticed to move up into what we now call the NASCAR Cup Series.
Yep.
Because of his exploits there.
Yep.
They were all spoke in favor of it. Of course, there are people who came up and spoke in opposition. Some had legitimate concerns, traffic noise to an extent. And then there was a person like this.
This clip I'm about to play was courtesy of Matt Weaver of Auto Week News, who did some bullet point clips on his Twitter page of this entire meeting.
Bullet points. I like how you put that, because we're about to shoot a bunch of holes.
I'm about to unload an M1 Abrams tank cannon.
Yeah, we're going off.
Here we go.
Hi there, my name is Katie Barnes. I live 3 blocks from the racetrack. That's 37203. I am already experiencing the nightmare that is about to unfold as a result of the noise that the racetrack produces. I have tried turning my television up to volume 10 and my sound system at the same time.
Hold up, right there. First of all, really nice Kevin Costner, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I can't quite keep my accent correct, as we've already heard, Katie. Number 2, why is it that with her sometimes British accent, all I can think of when she says I try and turn up my television to 10 is Spinal Tap, but this goes to 11. Folks, when was the last time you had a television that only went to 10 on the volume?
I run mine at 50. You can ask the wife. She's not happy.
I'm going to hold my comment till the end of the clip.
Oh, I'm probably going to ask him to pause more.
Here
but
we go.
By all means, continue.
Strap it in.
My windows vibrate. It scares my dog.
Loud noise,
and I
surely.
simply cannot have an evening to myself in my apartment. There are 5 perfectly operating Formula One and NASCAR tracks that are fully operational, that are available 20 to 30 minutes outside Nashville.
Oh, I want you to stop. But no,
yeah,
keep
yeah,
going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
In the United States that has a NASCAR track or a Formula One track in a residential neighborhood.
Oh, God, I can't wait. And these idiots are clapping.
Because they think she's right.
Because they don't know.
There is a lot of talk about neglect of the stadium. There is no talk of neglect of the neighborhood that they are about to destroy.
How?
This is offensive.
How?
This is a neighborhood that we were able to buy into quite easily that is now raising in prices. We are enjoying the property gains, which we do not want to lose.
Mm-hmm.
This is a terrible, terrible decision, and none of it should be allowed to be processed and to go through.
17 seconds.
I'm appalled that this should even be a discussion, and that any of this should be even contemplated within the residential neighborhood that we live.
Thank you, Speaker. Your time is complete.
Okay.
We're going to play rock, paper, scissors. Who goes first?
Well, I'm going to ask you a question.
Fire away.
When was Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway built?
That would be the year of our Lord 1904.
1904.
When it was built,
So this woman lived there since 1904.
Yeah. See, that brought up my question number 2. When it was built in 1904, how many of the current houses / apartment buildings were around Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway?
That would be 0.
Okay. So when she, admittedly herself, moved into the neighborhood, did she somehow overlook the fact that there was an active speedway within her neighborhood?
Apparently she didn't.
Because if her apartment complex...
And I know the exact apartment complex she's talking about.
Yeah, if her apartment complex, or if you bought a house within that neighborhood and your realtor did not tell you there is an active speedway in the neighborhood, that's on them. And that's on you.
It is.
For not knowing the neighborhood that you're about to move into.
Research.
Pretty simple. So that brings us to this whole real estate situation. We'll get back to the whole track situation in a second.
Okay.
I can't wait for that one.
I'll let you handle the real estate side.
At this point in time, all around the United States, we have what most people are calling a housing shortage. It's not that we have no houses, it's just the fact that they're all getting bought like that. Because we're in a big market right now. We are in a seller's market. You put your house on the market, if you don't get an offer within a week, you might want to find a new real estate agent. My wife and I put our house on the market as is.
I love the story.
As is. And we had an offer within 3 days that was thousands more than we were initially going to ask. Then the guy took our house, put about $40,000 into it.
Well, this I haven't heard before.
Oh, yes. Put about $40,000 of renovations into the house and sold the house for $40,000 more than what he bought it for and put the renovations in for, and $7,000 more than he initially asked for it in 3 days after he put it on the market.
So he sunk $40,000 into it and got $80,000 out of it.
Bingo. That's the kind of housing market we're talking about right now. You walked into this with your eyes wide open.
If she's complaining about it, no, she didn't.
Yeah, or you chose to put your head in the sand. It's Speedway. In your neighborhood. I noticed the fact that she didn't complain about the fact that there's going to be a soccer stadium built within about 15 feet of the front entrance gate of Nashville's Fairground Speedway. She didn't talk about the traffic or the noise from that.
No.
Only dealing with the traffic and the noise from the Speedway.
With the fake British accent she had.
Yes.
Because in that entire clip, the very first thing that I recognized when I listened to it when Matt Weaver shared it, she spoke 3 different languages in 2 minutes.
Accents, not languages.
Languages, accents, I don't, whatever I call it. I don't care.
It's an accent, technically, but it's a fake one. And not very well done.
Terrible. That track, like you said, was there before you were even a twinkle in your parents' eye.
Oh, yeah. You walked into that. You're the one to blame.
Appalling.
You're the one to blame.
She's appalled.
My question, how long has she lived there?
Don't know. She didn't say.
I mean, she has lived there long enough to know that there is racing going on, which you told me a little bit earlier. They have how many races per month scheduled?
One.
One race weekend scheduled a month.
Once a month.
NASCAR's not going to come in and all of a sudden run a race a week or a racing weekend every single weekend.
When NASCAR comes to town, I can't even have an evening to myself. Well, first off, Karen, NASCAR doesn't run there.
No,
it's ARCA.
Not right now.
Not right now.
Yeah.
It's ARCA.
That's what they're trying to work out, but.
And you run late models and a weekly show.
Yeah.
Which consists of late models. I think they run modifieds on occasion, and dwarf cars, legend cars, and Stinger cars, which is their 4 and 6 cylinder cars.
Okay. Now, let's put a hold on us blowing holes in her argument. Bristol Track General Manager Jerry Caldwell laid down some basic details on what this lease will be if it is approved. And it looks like it will be. Deals for 10 years. It does have 4 5-year renewal options, so potentially this could be a 30-year lease at $1 million per year with Bristol Motor Speedway and Speedway Motorsports Incorporated on the hook for all renovations and all upkeep and all maintenance, right? He stated they have a curfew of 10 p.m. for most racing events.
10.
For NASCAR top-level races, read higher than ARCA. Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity, and or Cup, depending on what it is NASCAR would like to put there. The curfew is 11 p.m. They won't race past that. He also showed plans for a 20-foot sound mitigating wall to be built that will stretch from the middle of Turn 1 all the way through the middle of Turn 3. And stated that the new main grandstand plans on the front stretch serve a similar sound mitigating purpose for noise, made necessary because of the soon-to-come soccer stadium. They're having to redo the entire front stretch grandstand area. But that will also serve partially as sound mitigating, along with a 20-foot wall.
Sure.
And a large soccer stadium.
Not a 20-foot metal wall, a 20-foot concrete wall.
Sound mitigating wall. Things that you see like on interstates as you head towards any major downtown area, like, say, Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, quite a bit. Since you're on the subject of Jerry Caldwell, here's who I'm fixing to absolutely decimate. The dissenting commissioner, Jason Bergeron. Leave your political garbage out of this.
He can't. You know that.
There are clips that I'm going to choose not to let people listen to. He's trying so hard to get Jerry Caldwell just to denounce the all this stuff with LGBTQ rights, anti-gay stuff that's supposedly out there.
Do me a favor, Bergeron. Stick to the subject at hand.
That's exactly what Jerry
This is about Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. You're playing politics with something that doesn't need to be played politics with.
Thank you. Jerry Caldwell shut him up and said, this is not about that. I'm not commenting on that.
But wait, there's more. But we have to take this break. We will kick off hour 2 by continuing to poke huge holes in Miss Karen's argument right after this.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
Have the just report about the
I've got it
in replay.
Oh, okay. And I've got a city map of Nashville up too.
Yeah. For those of you watching, having fun yet? I'm sorry, it's Katie, not Karen. Whatever.
That's 37203.
You just wait, I'm going. So these 5 F1 tracks. Yeah.
5 F1 tracks. 5.
There's about one fold as a result of the noise. I lose my evening to myself in my apartment.
French, Spanish, or Russian?
There are 5.
Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly
F1 track.
what you learn.
Killing me.
You can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com.
I had to do my math.
I like the thinking. And Mr. Plow, if you don't want to get a vaccine, don't get a vaccine. We're just mentioning it because, hey, it's a cool way to get your car out on the track if that's the way you want to go. I'm not telling you got to go get a shot. That's on you. You don't want to get shot? Don't get a shot.
I can tell you this much. I know one person who ain't getting no shot.
There you go. You don't want to get shot? Don't get a shot. No skin off my back.
Yeah, the 5 tracks, dog track. I want that one.
You got it.
I'm fixing to decimate this lady. We're on air. That'd be nice.
Well, within reason. There we go.
Rolling. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Yes, we are. Hour number 2 underway. I'm Steve West, Matt Nicholson over there, and John Myers capably making us sound as good as he possibly can. We are talking about Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. There was a public meeting held with the fair commissioners and the city commissioners, I believe. And they were talking about whether or not there was a public hearing basically about Bristol Motor Speedway and SMI coming in and effectively signing a lease initially for 10 years, could be as much as 30, for $1 million a year, plus SMI and Bristol are on the hook for all renovations and all upgrades to the track and the maintenance during that time. In other words, the city of Nashville and the fair board have to pay squat zero for the upgrades to this facility. And people came out, including Darrell Waltrip, who lives in Franklin, Tennessee, and basically grew up racing and winning at Nashville Fairgrounds in support of this. But there were some people who came out against it. We call her a Karen. Her actual name is Katie.
Katie Barnes.
Who complained about the noise, which the track predates your apartment and you moving into it, so it was there first. And you moved into the neighborhood despite whether or not you knew or not. You should have known. I would say probably despite knowing that there was an active racetrack in the neighborhood.
Yeah, you know what clued me into that was when she said, I easily bought into this. Duh, there's a racetrack right next door.
Sure. So, with all of that being said, in all of her complaints, she got applause for a comment that I want Matt to rerun just so that you understand we're not making this up. She actually said this.
You can't make this stuff up.
5 perfectly operating Formula One and NASCAR tracks that are fully operational, that are available 20 to 30 minutes outside Nashville.
Okay, you can stop there. 5.
How many?
5 Formula One
and 5 NASCAR tracks.
Yeah, 5 Formula One and NASCAR tracks, fully operational within 20 to 30 minutes of that area.
For our loyal friend, Mr. Mark Tollickson, better known as Chi-Town
Mark, yes.
The pulpit is open for business. It ain't soapbox today.
It's his.
It ain't soapbox today. It's pulpit day. 5 F1 tracks.
I wonder if Liberty Media knows about that.
Karen, as of 2022, there will only be 4 total F1 tracks in the Western Hemisphere.
Yes. Approved.
Excuse me. I'm wrong. 5.
That's true.
In the Western Hemisphere.
Yes.
That would be Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal.
Yes.
That would be Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
That will be, I'm going to call it the Hard Rock Stadium Circuit in Miami.
Yes, where there will race beginning next year.
That will be Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City.
Correct.
And the track in Brazil.
Yes, Sao Paulo.
And
that is 5, Sao Paulo.
All 30 minutes from Nashville.
All 30 minutes from Nashville.
Yes.
Okay, so
if you take a space shuttle.
All right.
I was going to say Concorde, but you know.
Let's see. If you're listening, which I hope you are, Jean Todt, apparently you're going to have 5 new Grand Prix next year in the city of Nashville alone.
Yes.
Okay. First off, we're going to have the Brentwood Grand Prix presented by Tootsie's Orchid Lounge.
Okay.
All right.
I like that.
Secondly, we're going to have the Hendersonville Grand Prix presented by the Grand Ole Opry.
Nice.
Okay.
I look forward to these.
Thirdly, we're going to have the Nissan Stadium Mount Juliet Grand Prix.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to have we're not going to have another Grand Prix. We're going to have an endurance race. We're going to have the 12 hours of Highland Rim at Highland Rim Speedway.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Then the last Grand Prix, we're going to have the Commodore Grand Prix at Vanderbilt University.
Nice.
There's your
We
five
can use
right
the
there.
stadium as the background.
Okay.
And in addition to that, we'll get the IndyCar Grand Prix in downtown Nashville, and we'll put NASCAR in Nashville Super Speedway.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
And we'll put the NASCAR postseason award ceremony downtown at the Ryman Auditorium. It's going to be fantastic. Nashville's going to be like the center of the racing universe.
Exactly.
I guess
Not.
I guess I go back to Liverpool.
I hope that I hope this year, just for fun and giggles, they take and do the parade car with the cars, and they go right by her house,
Oh, that would
right
be
through
awesome.
town.
That
Take
would
the
be
parade and go
awesome.
through town. Okay. In regards to your 5 fully operational NASCAR tracks outside of your area, as a way you.
Okay,
out of
so
everything you
from the one that we know is Nashville Super Speedway. How far is Nashville Super Speedway from Nashville Fairground Speedway?
That would be 36 minutes.
Okay, not within your mark, but
Close.
let's
Close enough.
I'll give
give
you the
that one to
benefit of the doubt. You got one.
One.
Where's the other 4?
You tell me.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
If you start at your center point as Nashville
Okay, downtown.
in an active track status,
Okay.
you only have 7 in the surrounding states.
Ooh. State, not city, state.
States.
Okay.
7 in states counting Tennessee.
That are NASCAR.
Active tracks. If you want to count Memphis, you got 8.
Oh, well, sure, why not?
Let's count Memphis.
Let me think. How long does it take you to get from Nashville to Memphis?
About 3 solid hours,
Okay.
roughly.
And then to get from Nashville to Bristol?
2, give or take.
Okay. Nashville to Talladega?
3.
3 to 4. Nashville to Atlanta?
I'm gonna say 5.
Okay. Nashville to Kentucky?
I wasn't counting Kentucky.
I'm going to go ahead and count it. Let's
That's 9.
count it. Whatever.
That's 9 active tracks in 1,
Sure.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 states.
Okay. And we haven't gotten to Virginia with Martinsville or Richmond. We haven't gotten to North Carolina. Anybody remember North Carolina? Isn't like Charlotte like some hub for NASCAR?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't talked about North Carolina. We haven't talked about South Carolina.
I didn't even count South Carolina, so we'll go 10 in 7 in that many states. Okay.
Yeah. But how many, again, within 20 to 30 minutes, giving her a 10-minute cushion, how many NASCAR tracks are there within that time frame? Nashville Speedway, Super Speedway. That's it.
Mhm.
And we're going to get a street course IndyCar race in downtown Nashville. Okay, we'll call it 2 stretching. And the fantastic thing, and I use that term carefully, is that there are people that applauded her. Now, later on down the line, she also states or asserts that Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway is the only track in the country in a downtown area.
Katie, Karen, whatever you want to call yourself.
Richmond comes to mind.
The racetracks in the cities of Richmond, Virginia,
Mhm.
Charlotte, North Carolina,
Mhm.
Dover, Delaware,
Mhm.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
Mhm.
Indianapolis, Indiana,
Mhm.
Daytona Beach, Florida.
Mhm.
I'm going to count Homestead Miami Speedway because you have to drive through a subdivision to get to the track.
That is true. Yeah.
Martinsville, Virginia, as well.
Texas is not that far outside of the downtown limits of Fort
It's
Worth.
not outside of not far outside of Fort Worth at all.
And if you look at where they're going, basically between Dallas and Fort Worth, that is all urban area anyway. So
Those cities would like a word with you, ma'am.
Uh-huh. And there are others probably that we haven't thought of. That's just right off the top of our heads. Yikes. So what we're dealing with, folks, these people vote.
Duh.
These people vote. That should scare you.
So let's do a little quick recap on our new F1 tracks in 2022. Lewis Hamilton, sorry, you're going to have to run more races. I hate that. But
I know.
You got your Brentwood Grand Prix. You got your Mount Juliet Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Hendersonville Grand Prix. You've got the 12 Hours of Highland Rim.
Yes.
And then you have the Commodore Grand Prix at Vanderbilt University.
Sir Lewis Hamilton, gear up. You're going to be in the United States for a while because we
Toto.
also still have plans to run Miami and Circuit of the Americas next year. So that's 7 races in the United States. Liberty Media is going to be thrilled. 7 races in the United States next year.
Wow, that's unreal. So Toto Wolff, Christian Horner, meet you in downtown Broadway next year.
Can't wait.
Now, for those just tuning in, we have to clarify. This is in response to the idiot opposing the
Katie.
Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
Katie Barnes, 3 blocks from the Speedway. That's 37203.
Yeah.
Carry on.
There is, again, 4 people on the fair board. 1 was opposed. 3 were initially in favor. I doubt seriously Katie and her really, really bad arguments changed really anybody's mind. So we're expecting it to be passed whenever they finally get around to voting it. There you go. All right, on to other stuff. Shall we?
You may knock out some of these comments that we got right here.
Oh, by all means. I can't wait.
Michael Garner.
Yes, Michael.
Go ahead.
What do you
Go
got, John? All right.
A few years ago, Ace Speedway in Altamont, North Carolina, had some houses built across the street from the track. These people who bought the houses and living there complained about the noise and wanted to shut the track down, so they failed. As well, he stated he would love to see those 5 tracks in Nashville as well. I sure would as well. Mark.
I bet you they're pretty.
Shall I tell Mark? You can prove your ignorance if you do not open your mouth. She blew it.
There's an old phrase that our friend from Ox Foundation Solutions taught me a long time ago, Michael Hart. Better to keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt.
I like that.
That's why I stay quiet most of the time.
Can I go back to the year?
I didn't say that.
Can I go back 18 years to 2003 and put that as my senior quote?
Hey, there you go.
That's great.
Any other comments?
Pulpit closed.
Yeah. Good night almighty.
Yeah, I'm closing it.
Some kind of surprising news came out of Texas Motor Speedway this past week. Speedway Motorsports Incorporated, they're about to lose a big name in this business. Eddie Gossage, the president of Texas Motor Speedway since it opened 24 years ago, he's now 62 and decided it is time. He's announced his final event as track president, going to be All-Star Weekend, June 13th, and then he will retire. He said it's going to bring him full circle. He started with Bruton Smith and SMI at Charlotte Motor Speedway back in 1992 as the public relations director. It's a career that he says put him in a role that, well, almost ended as soon as it began. Seemed that he worked up a stunt for that particular year's All-Star race, the first one to be run at night under the lights, and he set up a switch for Bruton Smith to flip that were going to turn on the track lights. When he did it, some sparks flew, and it actually caught Bruton's hair on fire. Gossage said he felt he would be fired for sure, but Smith kept him on, and when he built the track near Fort Worth, Texas, he saw Gossage as the only choice to lead it. Installed him first as the GM when it opened in 1997. They gave him the title of track president in 2004. Before joining SMI, Gossage worked as motorsports management for the Miller Brewing Company, and had also worked for Nashville and Bristol Raceways. And beginning this weekend at Dover, we're seeing more and more of this.
Quite a bit.
Not only has Dover, Delaware, allowing for grandstands to be as sold out as they can get, NASCAR's relaxing their COVID protocols. No longer requiring masks in the garages or on pit road. Masks are still required inside buildings or inside haulers or any other enclosed spaces where local or state regulations call for them. But if you are on pit road, getting ready to, change a tire or gas up a car, you ain't got to wear a mask no more.
Or outside in general.
Yeah. This is the beginnings. We're getting back.
Not only that, but it was Thursday, I think. Another state dropped not only just mask requirements, dropped everything. Fully open. North Carolina.
Bingo. They're falling like dominoes. It will happen. To the National Hot Rod Association, or the NHRA, where they got a new national tech director. The NHRA has pulled Lonnie Grimm from the PDRA, otherwise known as the Professional Drag Racing Association, to put him in that slot. He will answer to the the NHRA vice president. I'm so used to saying NASCAR because I have pretty much since the beginning of the show. He will answer the NHRA vice president of competition, Ned Walliser. Grimm, an Arkansas native, attended Central Arkansas and then the University of Arkansas Little Rock, officially took over the role Wednesday. He said his goal is to continue racing innovations while also upping safety. Very well said. Yep. I didn't even know that this was a funny car team. There is a funny car team called New Englander. Okay. They're bringing a new driver and crew chief combination for this weekend at Charlotte. You might have heard of these people. They are Corey Lee, driver and veteran tuner, and a former driver himself, Johnny West, no relation to me, as his crew chief. West is a former driver turned tuner who comes in to take over that program for the team, which was formed back in 1976, but they've been largely a regional team from New England that has competed in both Top Fuel and Funny Car, but they're seeking to expand out a little bit more, so we may hear more from them. We'll see. Thursday in Charlotte saw a little bit different kind of driver swap than one we have seen in recent memories. Formula One and NASCAR has done it twice. NASCAR and Indycar did it once. In this case, the NHRA drivers did not actually get into a NASCAR Cup car, but two Cup Series drivers, specifically Toyota drivers Bubba Wallace and Daniel Hemrick, had the chance to get into a Colita Motorsports Top Fuel and Funny Car entry, respectively. Sean Langdon and J.R. Todds get a little taste of how they live. After that, the four got into a basic kind of generic Toyota Supras at Charlotte's ZMAX Dragway and held their own four-wide drag race. Reports state Bubba Wallace got the win in preparation for this weekend's NASCAR Camping World Drag Racing Series action at that track. Well, Bubba ain't going to be there. Neither will Daniel Hemrick. They're going to be in Dover. That being said, I did happen to notice that one Tony Stewart was hanging around over there.
Yeah.
Just noting.
He was.
When we come back, we're going to switch to American-style open-wheel racing. A whole lot of preparation for the Indy 500 is on deck. Stick around. We'll be right back on CRN.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back.
When severe weather's at its worst, early warnings save lives. Introducing
We'll do our fine feathered sponsor. We'll do our fine feathered sponsor before next break.
First, because it's live. Central Alabama exclusive. First, because of its location.
I was prepped for it.
Yeah.
That's what took me so long. I had to switch gears.
Yeah, I was trying to slow it down enough for you to be able to do that. And almost got there.
Live Doppler, only on today's WVTM 13 News.
If you drive a car, truck, SUV, or vehicle of any kind, you need Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. That's right. With the free Get Upside gas app, you can get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas. Nearly 3 million people have earned cash back with Get Upside just for buying gas.
I always use Get Upside. Some months I make $200 to $300.
I love getting money back for things I use every day. It's just free money for buying gas.
There's no catch. It's simple. And you get your cash back right away.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code TOOL for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Cash back on gas on every fill-up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code TOOL for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TOOL.
I'm Carson Daly, and I'm a tool. Anytime anybody ever says that, all I can think of is that SNL bit that, what was it, Jimmy Fallon, I think it was, did it. You know, back when SNL actually was kind of funny. It ain't no mo. That's another soapbox for an entirely different show, not this one.
That's what we need to do, just one full complete show. Call it Soapbox Saturday.
An entire Saturday of venting.
Great. Well, I could start on a few things.
The idiots of the world who don't know their surroundings. Oh, sorry, we just did that.
More racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Hey, welcome back into the show. Hope everything is going well for you on this particular Saturday. We are into IndyCar Series news, quite a bit of it actually, as we are preparing for the Indy 500 by also remembering we got a road course race at Indianapolis this weekend. While they're still planning to be a part of the Indy 500, Max Chilton and Carlin Racing Team are missing this weekend's Indianapolis road course race because of a travel issue for Chilton, who's a native of and a current resident of the United Kingdom. And, of course, they still have major travel restrictions in place due to COVID-19. The team is already in Indianapolis. They decided not to go with a substitute driver for this weekend, so instead they're going to concentrate on prepping the car for Chilton and the Indy 500. In sports, we like to talk about records that either will have a hard time being broken or will never be broken. For example, Cy Young, over 500 wins in baseball as a pitcher. Any number. Jerry Rice, 22,000 yards receiving in the NFL.
Yeah.
Things like that. There are records specific to events as well. And in the case of the Indy 500, records are very well kept. There are 3 Indy 500 records still standing that are the oldest that we want to highlight. This one will probably never be broken. The largest margin of victory set by a gentleman by the name of Jules Go back in 1913. Jules pasted the field, winning by a margin of 13 minutes, 8.4 seconds.
13 minutes, 8.4 seconds. That's going to equate to a whole lot of laps ahead.
Considering the fact that they're lapping Indy cars at, what, 48?
Ooh.
What's the number I'm thinking of?
Cup is around 48 on the oval. Around the oval for Indy cars, like anywhere, I'd say, I think it's anywhere from 37 to 39 seconds.
Okay, so we'll say 40. At 40 seconds a lap, you got a long way to go to get to 13 minutes. The second oldest one dates back to 1936. This is the lowest starting position for a winner. Louis Mayer, he won that year, 1936's Indy 500, despite starting in 28th. It would take a lot for that to change. Again, the oldest undoubtedly remains. The second oldest seems pretty solid as well. The third oldest, youngest winning driver could actually and very realistically be broken when we do the Indy 500 this year. Back in 1952, Troy Ruttman won the race at the ripe old age of 22 years and 80 days old. Coming into this year's race, there are 3 drivers who are younger. One who has already won this year, Colton Herta. He's 21 years and 61 days old. The youngest of them is Rinus VeeKay. He's 20 years, 261 days as of race day. And Pato O'Ward, he is the oldest. He will get one chance at being able to break this because he actually turns 22 on Thursday of this week. All 3 of them are in highly competitive cars that could easily win this race, and all 3 of them, quite frankly, are more than qualified enough to be able to park those cars in victory lane.
If I'm putting odds on any one of those 3, I'm literally going to have to call a push in between Herta and O'Ward.
Yeah, I'm not going to call VeeKay. VeeKay is a little bit too inconsistent. I might go Herta over O'Ward, but O'Ward just got that win too.
I'm going to call a push.
And he has, that would make him a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, it's about a push.
A little bit.
I could see either one of them very easily making it.
Yeah.
We'll predict that weekend. As for the breakdown of the race, at this point, knowing that another entry or 2 could emerge, we have 35 confirmed entries, 18 using Chevy engines, 17 using Honda power. 3 rookies are going to be racing. No, it is not Jimmy Johnson. No, it is also not the guy who's on the pole for this weekend. The 3 rookies that will race are Scott McLaughlin, Pietro Fittipaldi, and R.C. Enerson. In the field, there will be 9 former Indy 500 winners. They include Elio Castroneves, Scott Dixon, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tony Kanaan, Juan Pablo Montoya, Simon Pagenaud, Will Power, Alexander Rossi, and Takuma Sato. As for the field of drivers themselves, there are going to be 13 drivers in the field that were born right here in the good old U.S. of A. The other 22 born overseas somewhere. I'm not going to start naming off countries. I'm just not. Qualifying begins Saturday, May 22nd. Will finish Sunday, May 23rd. That will also be bump day, knocking the field down to the official number of starters at 33. Final practice, otherwise known as Miller Lite Carb Day, Friday, May the 28th, with the race taking place 2 days later, covered on NBC and the Indycar radio network. Full details coming up that weekend.
I still don't understand how anybody that runs in the IndyCar series or runs an open wheel car in general in North America, I'll say that.
Okay.
How would you not want to run the Indy 500?
Oh my gosh. It's like the Daytona 500.
How would you
This is the race everybody wants to prepare for.
I mean, if you're in an open wheel IndyCar, I'm going to take a shot at the Indy 500.
Well, let's go back to the 3 rookies there. R.C. Anderson technically has 3 starts in this particular race, but he hasn't raced enough to get the rookie stripes off. R.C. Anderson's running for a company called Top Gun Racing. This is their one race slated to drive in 2021.
Huh. Ooh.
They are out there.
Yeah, they're out there, but they better unload quick.
Okay, over the last couple of years, we've been talking about kind of a resurgence in the motorsports game, specifically led by the NHRA and by IndyCar.
Yeah.
They have seen the biggest gains in television ratings in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
We'll get this little bit of news. NBC might be thinking about getting out of the IndyCar game after this year. Initially reported by Sports Business Daily and followed up on by the Indianapolis Star newspaper, the report claims that IndyCar and NBC are, quote, beginning to envision life without the other, unquote. Talks are said to be ongoing and have not completely broken down, but with the shutdown of the NBC Sports Network, the cable network, pending, it has IndyCar worried that NBC might not be able to give the series proper coverage. I've made no bones about the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of NBC's NASCAR coverage. I like their IndyCar coverage. I hate the fact that this could go away, but this is... My soapbox tends to be in the area of broadcasting anyway. This, to me, is a horrible idea. And I get it. You're going to shut down your cable network, your cable sports network. You've got other cable networks you could go with. I mean, what are you going to run? You going to run another Lord of the Rings marathon? I love Lord of the Rings, don't get me wrong. But are you going to run another Lord of the Rings marathon on the USA Network? Why don't you put the IndyCar race on there? What's the matter with that?
I mean, they put it on CNBC for crying out loud.
I know. You got all kinds of cable networks that people can actually find, as opposed to CNBC, that you could put this thing on if you're not going to put it on the main network.
Yeah.
So anyway, what does this mean? Well, could it mean a return to the heritage? ABC, ESPN. ABC has run every Indy 500 in some way, shape, or form of coverage, tape delayed or not, since 1965, if I remember correctly, or somewhere in that area.
Yep.
Well, according to the newspaper, the Indianapolis Star, it's actually CBS that might be the leader in the clubhouse. They seem to have a renewed interest in motorsports. They've got their own CBS Sports Network. Still, no plans to shut that down. They have the affiliated Paramount Plus streaming service. And for this year, CBS has Formula E, and they've got the SRX or Superstar Racing Experience. So they got the plans to do that, and they're going to put that on the main network, SRX, in prime time on Saturday nights. So they seem to have an interest, or at least a renewed interest, in motorsports. So CBS might be the home.
I would actually not mind seeing CBS come back.
Especially if they get Lee Diffie.
Yeah, and considering they've got a whole lot of money that they have in their back pocket now, considering they lost the contract to the SEC 230 game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a significant outlay of money right there.
I think that would substantially, if not easily, cover IndyCar rights.
I would be okay with that. CBS?
I would too.
Hopefully they get it. Friday morning, we awoke to the news that with Formula One's Canadian Grand Prix being officially postponed, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, likely canceled. We should have seen that coming. We should have seen this coming, too. The Streets of Toronto Grand Prix for the NTT Data IndyCar Series, slated for the weekend of July 9th through the 11th, has been canceled. With that, we got a big hole in the new official 2021 series schedule because they haven't replaced that race with anything else. So at this point in time, unless something changes, we will have no racing from July 4th when they're at Mid-Ohio through to August 8th when they go and race on the streets of Nashville. Now, part of that was already set up between them and the Olympics IndyCar and NASCAR both worked with NBC because NBC and NASCAR would be working together by that point in time. So they worked together, all three of them, and said, hey, listen, we want to do the Olympics coverage in full. Could you not race? Okay, they both IndyCar and NASCAR worked their schedules out. But, man, July 4th to August 8th, that's even bigger than the August break that Formula One's going to take.
I think you could probably easily find a replacement race.
Just not Richmond.
Just right down the road from here.
I bet you Barber would be more than happy to host a second race this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would be.
But then again, I mean, there are other places you could go. I'm a little surprised that they haven't tried to find another place. And here's the thing. Maybe they are working on it and they just haven't said. That's a possibility. I don't know how likely it is, but at this point in time, they said that they haven't found anything to replace it with. So we shall see.
Yeah.
It does seem
Time
weird.
will tell.
It does seem weird that you wouldn't have one, though. Anyway. All right. So then we get to AJ Foyt. AJ Foyt, despite his, getting up there in years, he will be at the Indy 500 later on this month in celebration of winning his very first of the famed races. Before the race, he's going to be celebrated for that and his other accomplishments within IndyCar. And he's invited a special guest to be with him, Tony Stewart. Stewart's always held up Foyt as his hero, and Foyt will not only join him for the pre-race ceremonies, he will join him on the pit box for the race. Smoke said of the invite, quote, AJ's my hero and a great friend who I've known for a long time. If it had four wheels and it went fast, AJ would drive it. NASCAR stock cars, USAC stock cars, sprints, midgets, Indy cars, IMSA sports cars. AJ won in all of them. We both kind of came up through the racing ranks in the same way. He just did it in a different era. He remembered how much it meant to him, by the way. Foyt called him after he claimed his first Cup Series title back in 2002. Well, Foyt was just as complimentary of Stewart, saying, quote, Tony and I have been good friends for a long time. I'm glad he's able to come out for this 500. Noted he was given the honor of presenting Stewart with his first championship rings after he became the first driver to claim the USAC Triple Crown, winning the Midget Sprint and Silver Crown titles in the same year back in 1995. Then he moved up to IndyCar, where he got Rookie of the Year in 96, claimed the series title in 97, and turned his attention to NASCAR, where he won the 1999 Cup Rookie of the Year honors. And that's right, 3 more driver titles. And by the way, he's also got one as a team owner. I'd say the dude's fairly successful. But you know what? He would give more credit to AJ Foyt than to what he's done.
Yeah, he sure would. He sure would.
That's just the way Tony is.
Yep.
Pretty cool stuff. Right. One more note on the Indy 500. How's this? Leading the field to green, and any time the Indy 500 is under yellow flag conditions, I know this will come as a shock if you have been following the pace vehicles of the Indy 500. It's going to be a Chevy Corvette.
Shocker.
I know. It is the most commonly chosen Indy 500 pace car model. This year is the 32nd time for a Chevrolet to pace the race, dating back to 1948. The Corvette has been the model of choice more than half those times, 18. This one is going to be a hardtop convertible in Arctic white.
I've seen it. It's sharp.
Sharp-looking car. I saw one yesterday in an electric blue that just blew my mind.
There is one right over the hill at our local Chevrolet dealership that is dark metallic gray.
Ooh. Almost like a carbon. Bet you that's a good-looking car, too.
It is. It's sharp.
If anybody would like to give me an hour or two in one of those, I'll take it. Just saying.
Me too.
Yeah. One more note in the IndyCar ranks here. Got plans for a new biopic about a racer's life. In this case, it will highlight IndyCar and NASCAR driver and groundbreaker Janet Guthrie. The movie will be based upon the book by Stephen Talty called Speed Girl. It will star two-time Oscar winner Hilary Swank. She won Best Actress for her roles in Boys Don't Cry and $1 Million Baby. Guthrie, if you don't know or remember us talking about her recently, was the first woman to qualify for the Indy 500 and then turn around and raced in NASCAR as well, becoming the first woman to actually lead a lap in Cup Series modern history. She's finally, I guess is probably the better way to put this, going to get a film about her life.
I'm glad to see that, but the one thing that I beg of whoever's producing and making this film, get every aspect of motorsports right in this. Don't miss nothing.
Talk to Ron Howard, who did Rush. he got it.
He got it right.
Very well done in
He
that
got it
movie.
right.
He was able to go and meld actual footage of races from 1976, the year that was being highlighted in the movie Rush in Formula One. He was able to take actual footage and meld it almost seamlessly with recreations. I mean, dang. Did it very, very well.
Now, that's been the latest motorsports film that they got right.
Yeah.
Ford versus Ferrari was good.
It was.
With the exception of them missing the 24 hours of Fontana.
Yeah.
They missed that bad.
Yeah. That was not a good look.
But outside of that...
Including safer barrier, by the way.
Sure.
Yikes.
But just get it right.
Yeah.
Get it right.
That's all we ask. That's all we can ask.
Yeah.
Please do. Look forward to seeing it if it's well done.
Yep.
Hopefully well done is your house as well. And that's where our fine friends at Ox Foundation Solutions come in, and our friend Michael Hart. He can come out and he can go over your house, outside and inside, and tell you if there's anything wrong. Now, you say, well, there probably isn't anything wrong with my house. You might be right. We hope you're right. But the thing about it is, if you're seeing cracks in the brick basement walls or your sheetrock, if you're having a hard time opening or shutting doors or windows, or, I don't know, you feel like the floors are a little uneven, or maybe there's a whole lot of dampness in a basement or crawl space, maybe even standing water, all these are signs that the foundation could, and I emphasize the word could, be failing. Maybe it's not. But you want to make sure, because this is a huge investment, potentially the biggest investment you're going to make in your entire life, and it's the family's home. Don't take chances. Call our friend Michael Hart at Ox Foundation Solutions. He'll come out, like I said, he'll go over the house inside and out, give you a no cost, no obligation, written foundation assessment so you know exactly what, if anything, is going on. Because if there is a problem and you leave it untreated, later on down the line when you have to fix it, tens of thousands of dollars potentially coming out of your pocket. Get it taken care of now. Give them a call, 205-362-6419, or send them an email, mike@oxfoundations.com. Set up the appointment for him to come out. Again, no cost, no obligation, written foundation assessment. If it turns out that you do need work done, if you mention the promo code WEST, you'll get 15% off your repair if you go with Ox Foundations and Michael Hart, which we suggest. Again, 205-362-6419, or email at mike@oxfoundations.com. Again, if you have a problem and you need to get it fixed, go with them. Mention the promo code WEST. 15% off any repairs. Ox Foundation Solutions.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network.
This report is service of the Area Agency on Aging. Many older Alabamians have issues between buying food, medicine, or other necessities. If you or someone you know struggles to pay for groceries, help may be available. Call the Area Agency on Aging at 1-800-AGE-LINE to find out more.
If you're having problems buying your groceries and you need help, call the Alabama Area Agency on Aging at 1-800-243-5463. They'll explain all about
Why would I
SNAP to you. It's a
hype Paul
food stamp
Feinbaum on
program
our show?
for senior citizens.
Alabama, right now the Department of
Who said that?
Guy sent me a Facebook message with a link. Said he got 7 minutes to talk about vaccinations on Paul Feinbaum show. I don't mean any disrespect, Christopher, but I'm not really into the mood of giving hype to Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah, he's not the greatest one.
I've never cared for his style. And the funny thing is that you want to talk about a guy who's so vastly different off the air than on the air. I mean, he comes together as an old curmudgeon who's just angry all the time when he's on the air. You want to talk about the meekest, fading flower guy off the air? I mean, just, wow.
I'll tell you how the day I knew that everything was fake as a $2 bill.
Hey, I've got a $2 bill in the safety deposit. $3 bill.
$3. With Tammy. It was on there.
Okay.
The Rabbit Auburn fan, Tammy.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
I knew her all my life.
Yeah.
She's one of my closest friends' aunts.
Oh, okay.
I've known her She was at the racetrack every week with us.
Mm-hmm.
And how she acted on there versus real life.
Action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the show. Final segment already. Wow. Okay. Let's get into some Formula One talk, shall we? Before the 2021 season began, Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton had come to terms on a contract extension which kept him with the team, but only for 1 year. That led to a whole lot of speculation. According to Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff, they want to keep him, and as a couple of weeks ago, we're actually starting to make some contract negotiation noise, but said he was going to wait to see what Hamilton's timeline was. That timeline appeared to begin this week. The 98-time winner, and counting, and 7-time and defending series champion said he is ready to begin talks, adding that he does not want to wait as long as the two sides did before this season. He said, quote, "It ruined my whole winter in terms of being out to be able to be off and relaxed, so it felt like we didn't have much of a break." Thinking about it a bit more, he added this, quote, "I think we have to be sensible. Naturally, we don't have to rush anything, but I think we have to be sensible, start conversations. They're very complex. It's never a super simple procedure. So hopefully soon we can start, and as long as it doesn't interfere with the actual job. We have 19 races to do still, but it would be great to get something in place before the break, August. So then we could again be in that break and have a clear picture of the future."
You're going to have 27 next year, according to Katie Bonds.
Yes. 5 of them. No, I'm sorry, 7. 5 in Nashville, 2 others.
Yep.
Circuit of the Americas in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Strap in. It's going to be a long one. Make sure you negotiate properly.
Yep.
Here's the thing. If he wants to negotiate this, it's going to happen. I mean, the two sides want each other. It's just a matter of making sure you get the numbers right.
And I'll say this. Toto Wolff is hilarious to watch in Drive to Survive this year. It is hilarious.
Yes, he is.
Gosh, it's hilarious.
If you haven't seen Season 3 of Formula One Drive to Survive on Netflix, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Another Hamilton note when it comes to his win in the Spanish Grand Prix. As noted in the race recap at the beginning of the show, he's that much closer to win number 100, again, number 98 after the win. He claimed the pole for that race. That marked his 100th career pole position. He's the first Formula One driver to attain 100 pole positions in a career. He's about to be the first driver in Formula One history to claim 100 wins in his career, too. That's going to happen.
Quick.
I would say conservatively in the next 4 races. I could easily see it in the next 2.
I'm going to say if it doesn't happen in the next 2, I'll be shocked.
No, I agree. The FIA, Formula One's governing body, has started to warn teams of a new test that they're going to implement next month. In other words, you can get away with it at the Monaco Grand Prix, but after that, it's not going to happen anymore. What are we talking about? Well, in all of racing, and for that matter, sports history, all competitors want to seek an edge, something that gives them even the slightest advantage over their opponents. In this case, Formula One and FIA officials have been hearing from some drivers that some teams, read Red Bull, are using more flexible materials in construction of the rear wing. Of course, that thing is under pressure of running 150 to 200 miles per hour each and every race, each and every lap of every race. And that the way that they've made this, it might actually flatten the rear wing a little bit when it's under pressure, allowing for more speed. Lewis Hamilton claimed Red Bull's been using this particular system, told Sky Sports, quote, "The Red Bulls are really fast on the straights. They have this bendy wing," his words, not ours. "They have this bendy wing on the back of their car in which they put on today, and they gained at least 3/10." Christian Horner, Red Bull's team principal, stated that their rear wings have passed all the tests. That said, there was a note from the FIA to all teams that said that there will be a new load deflection test for all rear wings that will be implemented beginning the race weekend of June 15th.
You cannot tell me that Mercedes AMG Petronas F1 does not have wings made out of the same material.
One would think.
You cannot tell me that.
I mean, what are they going to use that Mercedes and Haas F1 and Alfa Romeo and, oh my gosh, Aston Martin and Alfa Tauri, that all the other 9 teams that are currently running don't have access to?
None. They've got it all. Everybody's got access to the same stuff.
I love old sayings within the racing world. One of them, if you want to make a small fortune in racing, start off with a big one.
Yep.
The other one is, you don't read the rule book for what is in there, you read the rule book for what isn't in there.
Like the old golden rule, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
So if you play in the gray areas, and you say, okay, we have to have a rear wing that can match this. You're going to come up with a material or use the material you've got to make that wing as flexible as you can possibly make it under the rules as you read them. Right?
Absolutely.
So how did Red Bull stumble across something that Mercedes and Alpine and everybody else hasn't come across?
Lewis.
Doubt it.
You're a 7-time champion.
I know they're all looking for edges.
You've won.
And Mercedes wants an edge. But, dude, you're in the points lead, and you've launched Mercedes into the Constructors' Cup lead already, and we're, what, a handful of races into 2021?
Constructors' Cup is essentially over again.
I know. You're complaining about, you're making a whole lot of ado about nothing.
Lewis, you're a 7-time champion.
Yeah.
You've won 98 Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm. Soon to be 100.
You've won 100 poles.
Yep.
And you don't know that at some given point, every part and piece on that car flexes.
Good God, yeah. We can see that when we watch the race.
Every part and piece does. But you want to
especially if you see it in slow motion. If you get a slow motion and they're going over curbing on a turn,
oh yeah,
you see that whole car shaking.
You can't tell me that you want to complain now about a bendy wing.
Yeah.
That's the number one piece on the car that's going to flex.
You know it.
It's taking the most air.
Yep. That's the one that's sticking up the most.
Ta-da.
Oh, well. As for Lewis Hamilton's teammate over at Mercedes, rumors have been a-flying. Recent rumors have the team replacing Valtteri Bottas before the season ends. Bottas recently tried to blunt those rumors, but Mercedes had been pretty quiet until this week. Toto Wolff has come out and said that Bottas indeed will be in the second seat through the remainder of 2021, said that he will not play, and this is another shot at a competitor. Read Lewis Hamilton firing at Red Bull about bendy wings. You ready for another shot across the bow at Red Bull? Toto Wolff said he will not play musical chairs like some of their competitors, calling out Red Bull without saying their name. After this year, we don't know because Valtteri Bottas signs a series of one-year contracts, so we don't know yet whether or not he'll be back next year or not, but he will be in the car, according to Toto Wolff, through the end of this year. The Williams team set to hit a milestone when the series arrives in Monaco. When they start the race, it will officially be the team's 750th Formula One race in their history. The team was founded in 1977, quickly became highly competitive. They have more than 100 race wins as a team since then. They're no longer owned by the Williams family. The U.S.-based Doralton Capital, though, still wants to mark the historical number. So to do so, you can go on to WilliamsF1.com. It's the Williams team official website, WilliamsF1.com, where you can calculate your race number. In other words, whenever you started actually being interested in Formula One. The people who do it will have, after a drawing, 100 of them will have their names placed on the halo that is driven by George Russell and or Nicholas Latifi at Monaco. Use the calculator, figure out how long you followed Formula One, then enter your name, and it could be chosen to be included amongst 100 people eventually. I went ahead and did it just for giggles.
Yeah.
My number was 196 as the first race that I really remember watching in earnest. I remember watching like the old Indy Grand Prix, like the one where the tires were coming apart, but I kept going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
First one I actually remember watching in earnest, 2011 Monaco Grand Prix. 196 for me. I doubt my name gets on there, but hey, what the heck?
I doubt my number's that high. I'm going to say it's probably 90.
Okay. So you're not into triple digits yet?
No.
John, do you think you're even half of where Matt is? Yeah, I need a
No,
microphone.
well, I
There we
pushed the button and it didn't work.
But,
I can guarantee you, we're talking Formula One.
yes.
It's less than one.
Fair enough.
Now, put that into the calculator and enter. I want to see if they go with a 0 race number and still put your name on the halo.
That'd be interesting
It
if I
would
got
be, wouldn't
pulled in the draw.
It'd be fun. All right, you might remember we recently talked about the postponement of the Canadian Grand Prix, which caused the cancellation of the Canadian Indycar Grand Prix as well. Anyway, Formula One officials stated that they were going to go to Turkey in Canada's place. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Sure.
We got a fly in that. Well, it's actually 2 flies. One fly resides in Baku, Azerbaijan. The other, much bigger fly, resides in the United Kingdom. Let's deal with the first fly, shall we? F1 officials had asked Azerbaijani officials to switch dates with Turkey because Turkey's been listed on the UK red travel list. In other words, anyone returning from Turkey to the United Kingdom would have had to have quarantined for 10 days in a government-overseen hotel in the UK. So Formula One, again, asked Baku to move back to the June 13th date, which would have allowed Turkey to run on June 6th and therefore kind of working around the quarantine rules. But Baku said, we've got too many other sporting events going on and waiting a week is not something we feel that we can do. So it put the idea of the Turkish Grand Prix into jeopardy. Yeah, they got the answer wrong in Final Jeopardy, so they switched. Officially on Friday, the idea of a Turkish Grand Prix was canceled. The race is moved to Austria, giving that country back-to-back races this year, as it did last year when Formula One got to racing. This year, it's June 27th and July 4th officially. Thing about it is, Formula One does not want to abandon Turkey, so like China and technically Canada, Formula One's keeping hope that they might be able to go to Turkey later on the season if circumstances allow. So China, Canada, and Turkey are all officially considered as postponed. Yeah, right.
That would be a hike. Turkey to Canada, back to China.
Uh-huh. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. This all didn't work out all that smoothly either. They had to do a couple of other moves. So to make this particular situation with back-to-back races in Austria work, officials with the French Grand Prix had to move back a week from June 27th to June 20th. So now Formula One has races in 3 consecutive weekends, France and then the 2 Austrian races. It'll happen another time later on this year, October 24th, October 31st, and November 7th when Formula One runs back-to-back-to-back in the United States, Mexico, and Brazil.
Formula One Karens unite.
Yes. I can't wait for Lewis Hamilton to complain about that.
3 races in 3 weeks are too many.
It's too much.
Josh Berry, hold my alcoholic beverage. I'm running 3 races in 3 days.
Yeah. Everybody in NASCAR laughs at you when you say 3 races in 3 consecutive weekends? It's too much.
Oh,
they're all like, shut up!
That's bloody much, mate.
And then you got Formula E. Formula E officials are claiming that they have no less than 4 new cities in line to get races next year, the 2021-2022 season. 2 are confirmed, Jakarta, Indonesia, and Seoul, South Korea. Both were dropped from this year's schedule because of COVID-19 concerns. The other 2 cities are Vancouver, Canada, and Eindhoven in the Netherlands, but their actual race courses have yet to be finalized.
Eindhoven.
But they're planning on expanding out as well.
I think when all this mess settles down, I think I'm going to go ahead and get my passport. And next year, I'm going to Zandvoort.
That'd be fun. Especially get a seat right around that 18-degree banking turn.
I want to sit in a chair right in the middle of the corner.
And just watch.
You just sit there, and I know it's crazy to say, but me sit there in a chair like Bernie Sanders is looking going. I would sit there just like that.
It would. It'd be fun to see that.
Oh, it'd be
It
hilarious.
really would. All right, Dover this weekend.
Oh, today, Xfinity. I was going to go Justin Haley, but he's out.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he finally breaks through and gets off the board, Daniel Hemrick.
It's not a bad pick. I like it. Cup Series tomorrow?
I could say a quarter flip in between Larson and Reddick.
I'm going to ride this horse till it bucks, which really it has every single week that I've chosen him. But Joe Gibbs Racing does so well there. And I think Denny Hamlin, it's about time. I think it's about time.
Yep.
I can see Denny Hamlin easily taking that win because this is a guy on a mission.
Truex.
He's more than on a mission. Truex is
not that you're biased or anything.
Truex has accomplished his mission.
He really has. This dude is in, man, and he's right now the number 1 seed. But yeah, I kind of see Denny Hamlin getting there. It wouldn't surprise me if Truex. Quite frankly, it wouldn't surprise me if Kyle Busch is in there. It would surprise me a little bit if Christopher Bell got it. A little. Christopher Bell's doing pretty well. I will admit to this.
He is.
And the guys over at Stewart Haas are going, hey, Kevin Harvick, what do you think about a repeat? Because apparently he won this race last year.
Yeah.
He's closing in on it. I'm just not confident enough yet. And I'm a Stewart Haas Racing fan. There's no doubt about it. I'm an unabashed Stewart Haas Racing fan. I just haven't seen what I need to see out of any of the 4 Stewart Haas Racing cars yet to pick them.
Right.
He's not very consistent.
No. He's getting that way. Kevin Harvick probably is the most consistent of the 4 racers.
Yes.
But again, there's just that much missing. Just that much. They're missed it by that much.
We got one more order of business to take care of.
By all means.
Today is our pilot's birthday.
You are correct.
He turns a whopping 8 years old. PA, happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday
See
to you.
in a little while.
Hope you're doing well so far this season.
So far, so good. Patrick showed me the other day. I think he is one of the divisions he's running in. He's second in overall points, and he's within a fraction of the lead.
Keep it up, Patrick. Keep it up, and happy birthday to you. Hope everything continues on. Great weather this weekend, at least here in Alabama, the flagship hunt and the home of the Championship Racing Network. So get out, enjoy it, and hope you should have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the racing. Enjoy the week. We'll be back here next weekend, and we'll do it all again on the Championship Racing Network.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.